Have you ever wondered why the most broken people always seem to find you first? Why the ones with the deepest scars feel safest in your silence? If you're a Libra, this isn't a coincidence. There's a hidden architecture in your soul, one that damaged hearts instinctively recognize. Not because you're easy to love, but because you carry the weight of their chaos with grace they don't yet understand. This isn't just about zodiac signs. It's about soul contracts, karmic roles, and the 15 invisible reasons you were chosen, again and again. Stay until the end, because once you hear the truth, you'll never look at your relationships the same way again. And not everyone is meant to understand this, but you are. They come to you like moths, drawn to the softest flicker of a flame, not because you burn the brightest, but because you don't. Because your light doesn't blind, it reveals. There's a stillness inside you, Libra, a mirror hidden in the garden of your soul, where people glimpse themselves, unmasked, unjudged, untouched by the noise of the world. It's there in that rare reflection that the damaged ones pause, and they stay. You were not born to carry other people's wounds. And yet how often have you walk into a room and chaos quiets. Eyes find you, hearts lean in. Not because you ask for it, but because something in you knows how to hold brokenness without flinching. Your smile doesn't shout, it whispers, "I see you." And those who have not been seen in a very long time, they will follow that whisper anywhere. But this is no accident. You were designed by the cosmos itself to be the balance point in a world that tilts too easily toward extremes. Yours is the sign of the scales, the only inanimate object in the zodiac. Not beast, not God, not man. A symbol, an archetype, a portal. You do not live life, you weigh it, feel it. Tilt toward truth even when it's painful. And the wounded feel this. They may not know your rising sign, or your moon, or your house placements, but they know how they feel when they're near you, safe, understood, a little less alone. This is not a role you chose. It is a soul agreement forged long before your first breath, and with it comes a paradox. The ones most drawn to you are often the ones most likely to drain you. They come with stories soaked in sorrow, trauma stitched into their silence. And while others recoil, you step closer, because part of you sees the beauty buried in their ruins. But here's what no one tells you. The mirror that shows others who they are rarely gets to show itself. And so Libra, while you reflect the world's wounds, who reflects yours? You love to bring balance, but how often do you receive it? That's why this story begins with understanding, with you. Because once you understand the nature of your light and the shadows it attracts, you will no longer mistake their pain for your purpose. You are not here to save everyone, but you are here to remind them that beauty still exists, even in the dark. Venus rules you, Libra, but not the Venus of sugary romance or pastel love stories. No, you are the child of the ancient Venus, the Venus who stood in the court of shadows, wearing silks that concealed her scars, the goddess who knew love as a battlefield, not a fairy tale. The Venus who seduced the wounded, not with beauty alone, but with the terrifying power of acceptance. And in you, Libra, that legacy lives. Your charm is not a performance. It is a survival strategy. It is the way your soul learned to soften the hard edges of the world, not just for yourself, but for everyone who crosses your path. Those damaged souls sense it instantly. They see the way your presence calms a storm before a single word is spoken. They lean in, not realizing that beneath your easy elegance lies a razor-sharp awareness of everything that's off. You notice the shift in someone's tone, the tremble beneath their confidence, the hurt that hides behind a joke. You see all of it, and you don't run. You let them stay. You let them unravel in your arms, confessing sins no one else was willing to hold. And why? Because Venus taught you that love is not always soft. Sometimes love means witnessing the darkest parts of someone and not looking away. That is your gift. That is your curse. And that is why the damaged find you. Because you do not flinch. Because when they come to you, messy, ashamed, armorless, you give them something they never expected: grace. Not because they earned it, but because something in you knows they're still worthy of it. This is Venus's justice. Quiet, unconditional, radiant. And yet, this very grace attracts imbalance, narcissists, victims, those lost in loops of self-sabotage. People who don't just seek healing, they feed on it. You may not see it at first. You'll call it chemistry, connection, destiny. But what you're feeling is the magnetic pull between your light and their shadow, the old myth reenacting itself with you as the beacon and them as the broken. Still, part of you hopes that if you love them enough, they will remember who they are, that your patience will repair what life has shattered. And sometimes it does. But often it leaves you emptied, holding the weight of someone else's healing, while your own wounds go unattended. Venus gave you a heart big enough to hold the world, but not at the cost of your own reflection. The true test is not how much love you can give. It is how much truth you can hold, even when it asks you to walk away. Because real beauty, your kind of beauty, doesn't just soften, it awakens. The symbol of Libra is simple: two scales in perfect balance. But what most never see is how often those scales tilt before they settle. Because harmony is not your starting point, it is your holy work. The balance you bring is not a passive gift, it is a battle. A relentless internal negotiation between empathy and exhaustion, hope and reality, surrender and resistance. The wounded are drawn to you because they feel that quiet war. They don't understand it consciously, but they recognize a soul that's constantly recalibrating, weighing every word, every emotion, every silence, in an effort to bring peace. And peace is exactly what they lack. But here's the truth no one tells you. Libra, those who seek peace the most are often the ones who bring the most imbalance. The addict looking for someone to anchor them. The trauma survivor looking for someone to trust. The emotionally unavailable partner who wants to feel whole again. They come to you like seekers, and you, child of Venus, disciple of justice, open your gates without question. You think, if I love them right, they will heal. You offer patience, compassion, perspective. You give more than anyone else has, but you also absorb more than anyone sees, because someone has to hold the weight, and often it's you. Your relationships are rarely simple. They are karmic classrooms, each one handing you another puzzle to solve, another lesson in boundaries disguised as intimacy. The damaged don't just love you, they lean on you. And while you say you want balance, you often attract the very thing that throws you off. Why? Because part of you believes your worth is tied to what you can restore. You see potential, not just pain. And that hope, beautiful, dangerous hope, becomes the thread you pull until the entire tapestry unravels. You do this because you understand people, not just their light, but their broken wiring. You know what made them this way. You see their childhood wounds, their patterns, their shame. You think, if I can just love them enough. But the scales cannot balance if one side keeps giving. And you, Libra, are not a shelter for storms that never pass. You are the calm that teaches storms to become sky again. The lesson you came here to master is not how to fix imbalance, but how to stop inviting it. Because the universe does not reward your suffering. It rewards your alignment. And the more you choose your own peace over potential, over chaos, over karmic debt, the more you become the balance you were always meant to embody. You are not here to carry others. You are here to show them how to stand. You smile, you laugh, you make others feel like the world is less heavy than it is. And yet, no one sees how many pieces you've had to hold together, not just for others, but for yourself. Because beneath the polished charm, beneath the calm voice and well-timed grace, Libra hides fractures no one notices, not because they're invisible, but because you've become a master of disguising them in beauty. You were never given the luxury of falling apart in front of others. Somewhere deep in your story, maybe in childhood or in the echoes of past lives, you learned that love is earned by making others feel better. You became the balm, the bridge, the peacekeeper, and in the process, your pain became something private, not secret because it wasn't real secret because it wasn't allowed. That's the wound you carry beneath your elegance, the one the damaged unknowingly sends, like calls to like. Their chaos seeks your order, but their sorrow recognizes yours. You are the healer with a hidden limp, the one who offers shelter while standing in the rain. And because you rarely ask for help, they assume you don't need any. Because your life looks harmonious, they believe it is. But behind every smile is a question you've asked 1,000 times. When is it my turn to be held? You crave connection that sees you not just what you provide, but instead, you attract the ones who need saving. The ones who unconsciously look for someone to absorb their storm, someone who won't judge their brokenness. And you offer it again and again, not because you're naive, not because you're weak, but because somewhere inside, you've mistaken sacrifice for love. Libra, your capacity for compassion is unmatched, but compassion without boundaries becomes martyrdom. And martyrdom is not love, it is loss. Loss of self, loss of truth, loss of balance. It's time to acknowledge that your light is not infinite, that your energy deserves preservation, not just distribution, that healing others cannot come at the cost of abandoning yourself. Because here is the cosmic secret: the moment you tend to your own fracture, you no longer attract others who need you to ignore it. When you own your sorrow, you stop absorbing everyone else's. When you let yourself be witnessed, not just in beauty, but in breaking, you invite a new kind of relationship, one built not on imbalance or silent suffering, but on sacred reciprocity. The wound beneath your smile is not shameful, it is sacred. And when you honor it, you give others permission to do the same without needing you to carry them. You are not here to be perfect, you are here to be whole. There is a kind of beauty that doesn't come from perfection. It rises instead from sorrow, from resilience, from the quiet ache of having seen too much and still choosing grace. This is the beauty that lives in you, Libra, a beauty born not of ease, but of endurance. And it is precisely this that draws the damaged souls to your door. Because in a world that often reflects back only what is broken, you offer something else, a glimpse of what is possible. They see how you speak softly, but with strength. How you design your spaces with care, not to impress, but to heal. You light candles in dim rooms. You play music that understands grief without words. You create beauty not as decoration, but as medicine. This is your gift, to compose harmony from dissonance, to take the shattered and place it in a frame where even the cracks look divine. And those who are cracked themselves, they are pulled into your orbit like a weary traveler, stumbling upon a cathedral in the ruins. You are not loud. You are not demanding. You simply are. And in that presence, they exhale for the first time in years. But let us not romanticize the weight you carry. For every person who finds comfort in your elegance, there is another who tries to consume it. The emotionally starved may see your peace and want to drink from it endlessly. The lost may lean so heavily that your spine begins to bend. The ones who mistake your grace for weakness, your kindness for consent, they will test your balance again and again. And yet, you rarely push back, because you're afraid of hurting others, even if it means hurting yourself. Because you've been taught that beauty must never disrupt, that to be loved is to be pleasing, that anger makes you unworthy, and boundaries make you cold. But this too is a lie. There is power in your no. There is divinity in your resistance. Your soul did not come here merely to soothe. It came to restore, and restoration begins with you, with learning to beautify your own wounds before dressing the wounds of others, with recognizing that your art, your love, your presence, these are sacred offerings, not resources to be extracted, but energies to be honored. You are not a fantasy, you are a force, and the ones who truly see you, not just the image of you, will never ask you to carry what they refuse to heal. Let the broken come, let them see your light, but let them also witness your flame, not just your reflection. Because you were never meant to be a mirror alone. You were meant to be the masterpiece. Every Libra carries a karmic contract, not signed in ink, but etched in soul. It is the agreement to walk between worlds' chaos and order, sorrow and serenity, heartbreak and healing. To be the axis others rotate around, even when they're too wounded to notice the toll. You didn't choose this lightly. In fact, you didn't choose it at all. It chose you. And it chose you because your spirit is forged in justice, not the justice of punishment, but of equilibrium, of restoration, of soul-level truth. This is why the damaged seek you, because you are not just a partner, you are a portal. Through you, they remember what peace feels like, what tenderness sounds like, what love looks like when it doesn't demand suffering in return. But Libra, the lesson is no longer just about what you give. It is about what you allow. Allow yourself to stop absorbing pain that was never yours. Allow yourself to question why you always say yes, even when you're bleeding. Allow yourself to unlearn the belief that being chosen by the broken makes you whole. Because here's the spiritual truth: your energy is a mirror. Yes, but mirrors must be clean to reflect. If your surface is covered in the dust of other people's damage, how can you even see yourself? It's time to reframe your role. You are not here to be a healer by default. You are here to be whole by intention. Your soul path is not about rescuing every drowning heart that swims to your shore. It's about knowing when to open your arms and when to close your gates, knowing that not every broken soul is your assignment, and that loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. Let them call you cold. Let them say you've changed. Because you have. You are remembering now the scales do not exist to serve chaos, they exist to reveal it. You are not here to balance everyone's trauma. You are here to model what it means to stand in alignment, rooted, radiant, and sovereign. And as you reclaim your energy, something shifts. The people you attract begin to change. Not the ones who want to be saved, but the ones who want to walk beside you. Whole people. Healing people, people who give as much as they take, who reflect, not just drain. These are your soul mirrors now, and they will find you, but only when you stop dimming your light to soothe those who fear their own. So Libra, are you ready? Ready to stop carrying what isn't yours? Ready to stand not as their sanctuary, but as your own? Ready to become the balance within, so you no longer seek it around you? If this stirred something in you, it's not by chance. Leave a comment below, share the truth that resonated, subscribe for more soul stories like this, and let your voice be heard. Because you are not just a sign, you are a soul on fire remembering its light. And your time has come.